What's up? It's Kayla. Sorry for the mic hit. I'm not dead. What a surprise, but it's been a while, and I think I should give you guys an update on everything. I tried filming this in the morning earlier, but the video was an hour and 30 minutes, and it just dragged on at a lot of points, so I want to be as short and concise as possible and try and do it as quickly as I can, and then we can get on to the yearly recap and what to expect from things on this channel. So first off, I want to open with I'm very sorry about just how the uploads went. I didn't envision it being chaotic and this bad, but that's how the cards went. Early on last year, it's hard to remember. Honestly, it's hard to even think that it happened last year, but I've been dealing with a lot of personal stuff and my life got to shit, and then I had to rebuild myself back up as a person, and I'm still doing that. Obviously everyone is doing that, everyone's growing and learning, but a lot of friends disappeared, and I wasn't doing that well mentally, and because of that I just kind of needed to step a little bit more away from things, and I'm not saying that because I'm back everything's now peachy and fine. Shit still sucks. I just think right now I probably have the best support around me, and it's now easier for me to just get back into the swing of things and for me to just upload things with more confidence and just to get things on time and whatnot. I feel like I'm doing a lot better, and I know I'm saying all that and I'm 12 days late to recording this, or 13 days late to record this and edit, but I really do feel like I'm doing better with everything. And that kind of leads me into my next point of why did I not come back sooner? Why did you only get, what, 2 videos in the span of the past 6 months? And I think the simplest answer I can say is I had to focus on real life shit. I had to buckle down and prioritize things, and Pokemon just wasn't that high on my priority, and that's including things. It also includes just draft leagues in general, and especially the games. For example, ZA is now the first Pokemon game that I have not completed, and I have no intentions of completing. I didn't buy the DLC for it, which, to be honest, since Sword and Shield is something I've always not done now, is I don't buy the DLCs. I definitely wasn't buying it this time around, and I just had to prioritize things, and Pokemon wasn't high on that priority. If you're curious, I think I made a video in the middle of this year. I made a video that was also explaining things of where I'm at and whatnot. Oh my god, I just forgot what I was gonna say. But I made a video at that time detailing what was going on. Oh yeah, I made a detailed video saying, oh, I'm doing better in Draft League, everything's going swell, everything's great. And since then, I'm not here to say that things have gone to shit and things are terrible. It's quite the opposite. Things are actually just as fine as they were. I just took a massive step back. Since that time that I did the record thing, I've only played 12 more Draft League games. 12 more. In the amount of time it took for me to make that video, which was about 6 months, I played about 60 games. Give or take, plus 5, somewhere around there. And I'm saying that in that same time, I played a fifth of that. So I took a step back, and I am back to playing in a lot of leagues, playing in a lot of favorite leagues, and talking to a lot of people, and doing all stuff, and trying to do all that stuff. Shout out Gong, shout out Iger, shout out Nico, shout out Godbear. Everybody, y'all are amazing. Continue to be amazing, and you're amazing friends, and I appreciate every single one of you. So, with that all being said, what was the result of me taking this step back? Why come back now if I was saying all this was going bad, and even if I have a better support system, why come back now? I think it's, to put it simple, I'm just doing better. I know, obviously, it's hard to really put into words, and with a lot of things, you got to... I'm turning down the music. I know you don't hear any music, but I'm turning it down because it's so loud. But with a lot of things, you need to prove that you're doing better, and even if it shouldn't, you take it at face value that you're not doing well or that you're feeling better. Oftentimes you need to prove it, and I feel like I'm not trying to prove it to anyone, But I just, besides really me, but I do feel better, and I want to show that I feel better to, at the very least, myself. And for me, that's coming back and that's making videos and that's me trying to give insights and trying to grow as a draft league player, because I feel like, especially this past year, while my goal was to get back to where I was, that's such a stupid goal. There's no way to track how you're doing the goal, right? You could track wins like I've been doing, or Pokemon stats. That's not really a good indicator because things can change. You could play the worst player in the league for 30 games and win 29 or 30 of them, and you're doing better. So just really gut feeling and reflecting on how I felt during those games and weeks, I felt a little bit more prepped. And the games where I didn't win, I definitely didn't feel like I prepped the best I could or even the most I could, right? I feel like I just didn't put a lot of time into it for reasons I've already discussed. And when I did put in the prep and I put in the time, even if I lost, I still felt like I got something out of it. I still felt like I played to a certain degree good and my opponent just played better, or maybe I had a tough matchup or whatever. But in those moments, I was like, I see where I went wrong, I see where I made those mistakes and whatnot. It's when I didn't prep and I didn't, even when I won and I didn't prep well, it was, I couldn't really see what my mistakes were because I didn't really know why I did what I did. So, anyways, that's kind of the most important part of it. And I just feel like I can come back now, and I want to do it on my way, and I want to make sure that I can sustain this, and it's not just I'm back for 3 days and then I'm gone like I've done in the past. So, with that all being said, what is the plan? How am I going to actually achieve what I'm saying and do it in a way where I still feel like I'm in control of things and I'm not letting everything pass me by, or I'm not letting anything get to me? And I think that is setting up a schedule and setting up ground rules more specifically. But my first ground rule is the building a team, or sorry, the how to win at Pokemon Draft League. I will not be continuing that series. I will only be doing it if I really feel the motivation. That's kind of how I've always been doing it, but I want to make sure I hammer that point down. I will not be bringing the series back unless I feel like it is completely necessary. And it's not because I want to help people with Draft League. I really do. It just, when I make those videos, it's easy for my brain to just spiral with that information and try and do it. And then after making that video, I will play matches and just be like, oh, I should have won this game because I feel like I should be worthy of, I should be better, and I want people to respect me, so I need to win this game, and if I don't win, then where's my credibility? It just makes me go down this terrible rabbit hole, and I don't need that. So that's my first ground rule. The series will be on a hiatus until I feel it's comfortable to even think about bringing it back. Next ground rule is uploads. When am I going to be uploading videos? Am I going to be uploading them when the match is over? Am I going to be doing replays? How am I going to be doing it? I think I'm going to do it pretty simply, as I am going to upload on Mondays at whatever time I figure out. And that's that. If there's not an upload, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. There's just not an upload, and that's okay. And if I miss one, I will, obviously, I'll put 2 in the next time. And this is for every league. This is not one league is Wednesdays, one league is Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, whatever. Every league I'm in that I can and should will be uploaded on Mondays. And even if I'm not in any upload requirement leagues for obvious reasons, but even if that were the case, I would still try and figure out a way to put it to Mondays just to make my life a little bit easier with this kind of stuff. So I hope you can understand that. That's pretty much it as for ground rules go. I want to do what I can. So even if I say time is not on my side, or my opponent and we can't schedule a match for a good time, or it interferes with school and I can't upload, or I'm working on a project, however it might be, if I can't record something live, I will get the replay version and just try my best to fill you in on what happened or show the replay and then analyze it a little bit after and explain why I made the plays I did and whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but I want to, at the very least, I want to get videos out on a weekly basis on a specific date so that it forces me to be like, this is what I'm doing, I'm gonna do it, and because I like doing this stuff, I do. I just can't, like I said, there's a lot of reasons, but I want to be back, and I want to be doing things, and I want to be doing them my way, and I want to make sure I can do it in a healthy manner. So, with that all being said, what can you now expect from this channel? What types of video, or I already detailed what I expect to be doing, and that's just draft related content, but what can you expect from this channel, and specifically, what can you expect content wise? A lot of Draft League, I think, is the #1 thing, especially on Mondays. I will be holding myself to that standard. Even if I don't make it, I will be trying my best to do so, and I'm not just going to forget. That's #1. #2, I want to be uploading content when I feel like it. I know that kind of contradicts, but what I mean is you can see the game that I'm playing right now in the background, even though I forget if this first run, it ends in such an annoying way, and the run after, I don't know if you'll see the full thing or if you'll see part of it cut off, but that run also ended in such a annoying way. So it could have been so much better, and I partly fumbled and whatnot, but my point is, I want to be doing more of that kind of content too. I want to be doing things I like, especially with Balatro. I want to be doing things that I want to just ramble in those videos so that I can save the rambling for that and not in the Pokemon video and the runtime gets bloated, and I don't want to do that. So don't expect any Balatro content and don't expect it at specific days, but know that Balatro content might be uploaded on this channel at just randomly timed. I'm not going to record a video just for the fun of it. Or no, I am going to record a video just for the fun of it, but I'm not going to schedule the recording for a certain time or day or whatever, release it on a certain time or day. I'm just going to release them as I feel pleasure to. Is that whatever? So that is about that for uploading. I hope you can understand. I hope you enjoyed that section of the video. So I don't know what time this is going to be. I don't know how I'm going to edit this or how much I'm going to edit this down, but that is what I expect the content to look like. That's why the content was kind of weird this year, and that was, hopefully this is why the content will be better. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Right now, I'm going to get into the other half, or probably the longer half of this video, and that is going through my leagues this year and saying why did I not do well, and just trying to be better, and not even just be better, but just acknowledge what I did and see what I could do about it and whatnot. So I'm going to try and do this a lot shorter. Last time, the last recording was over an hour on this section, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to just try and gloss by them in just the months time frames. I'm making this up as I go, by the way. So for the first, I would say, quarter of the year was CDC Keldeo, RUDL, ASL season, what is that, 13? Season, Jesus Christ, season 13, and LBL season 6. Was this? I think this is late, so we'll cover that in the later section. And why, well, duh, I already kind of explained why I'm doing these, right, these four, because these were the leagues I were in at the time. And how did they do? Ubers. In this league, it showed my strengths as a draft player and my weaknesses. My biggest strengths are pivot game. If I can get a tank in to pivot into another offensive weapon, that usually is just how I win my games, or that's how I get momentum in my games. And in this league, I did not have that. I did not use Ogerpon like that. I didn't use Mandibuzz like that, even though I had it on my team. I hope I'm also showing the leagues as I do this. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see. But overall, didn't go the way I wanted, but also I've not really done Ubers leagues in the past, so my expectations were not high. This was also one of my first modding opportunities, which I'm not, don't tell anybody, but I'm not that great of a mod. I like doing the sheet stuff, but I'm not a people person at all. if you know me, I can be, how do I put this? If you know me like that, like, way too social. But if you don't know me like that, I'm pretty closed off. So, and in this, I don't know everyone personally, so I'm pretty closed off in the league. But regardless, it was a very interesting season, 3-5. Obviously not the greatest season ever, but yeah, what are you gonna do, man? It was my first league really coming back to draft, and it was a tough format. I was kind of all over the place with the drafting, which is something I definitely noted. My drafting was definitely really not great in this league, but it was the first league coming back. So moving on, we have RUDL, and that is my school league, so I'm probably not even gonna show the where I played and whatnot, but I started off 5-0, finished 1-4, though I think the final two games were my most important games, and that was quarterfinals and semifinals. Obviously, I won quarterfinals to get to semifinals, but I did not do that well. In the quarterfinals, I felt like I prepped very well, and I felt like I played out of my mind, and I got the win. The semifinals, I felt like I did not prep very well. I felt the complete opposite. I felt like I overthinked a lot of things, and it led to my demise. That three-game skid, I also am gonna gloss over just because I felt like, first off, that was around finals were starting around that time, and second off, I was 5-0. I foregone conclusion that I make the playoffs. And while I did try week 6, I definitely tried week 7. Week 8, I let myself off the brakes, and I tried to prep a good team, but really it was also just feeling out my opponent because I knew I was probably going to play them in the quarterfinals, which I did, and again, I beat them. So I feel very fine with how the league went. I feel very comfortable with how the league went, and hopefully I'm back in next semester. I still don't really know if I'm going to be doing it just because I don't know how my time is gonna work, but I might be doing it for, I might be covering the league just as a bystander, if you will. I'm a spectator. I'm just going to be covering the league as I see it and not really participating if I can help it. That's just how I want to operate for that. So like I said, I don't know if I won't be doing it, but we'll see. Probably I will be doing one next year. I probably will be participating in it next year, but I'm just saying for this year, I don't know. So, but really fun. I had Hydrapple on that team. I had Armorge. This was where I learned how I liked my offenses ran, and that's usually through, well, I guess this one didn't really follow the example, but usually a really fast mon that can just sweep or be bulky and take kills and whatnot, and that's really Armorge. I like my tanks where they have a high attacking stat, so I can speed creep some stuff too within it, and Hydrapple obviously dominated 12-3. But it was also low tier, I forgot to mention that. This is a low tier league, and Hydrapple, Armorge, Iron Thorns being allowed were crazy. I didn't like Iron Thorns at all. I felt like Iron Thorns is not the kind of mod I want to use because it was very clunky. I felt like it was hard to get in, especially on this specific team. It was a bad word to get in. And it was really tough to get them on in and actually have it sweep and do shit. So I really didn't like playing it. I know it was a very good mon in general for low tiers, but I couldn't find myself using it that well. Terracotta Raja was amazing. Komala is one of my favorite spin blockers, and Rotom Van is just Rotom Van. You will see in this next one in ASL Season 13, second to last league to cover. And you will also notice this one, you will actually see the schedule. It was a very wacky season. Started off 3-0, finished 2-6. Not great, Bob, or 2-7, my bad. 6? Not great, Bob. And I didn't really think I played that poorly. I think it was, and I don't even want to say school was like I don't want to say that either. I think it was just I made a bad transaction in the moment. I think Politoed, it was Politoed instead of Dun. I think Politoed actually made this team work a lot better because it's the threat of rain. Even if I don't bring it, it's a threat. And I think that's really impactful. It's also a special water type as opposed to a physical water type. And it just makes the team a little bit better. It also gives Hydrapple a fire weakness because I feel like Hydrapple should have a fire weakness. It just should. But this team was a ton of fun to use. I know 5-7, but this, well, you can't see it. You can't see where my mouse is pointing. But week 10 was a win. I just broke item clause, and I feel like that kind of threw the season out of the water because I was just like, well, I guess I'm done because of that. And who knows? Maybe I do something with it, maybe I don't. I also just don't read sometimes, so that kind of screwed me over. But I felt like this was a very good year. I felt like a really good season. I felt like it showed my strengths as a player, and that is my offense and how I like them structured. And to prove the previous point, right? Palafin dominated. Beyond was really good as just a breaker that could hit hard. Passimian, when it played, even though it didn't play much. U-turn pivot, knockoff, close combat. That's all you need with them on that. Rotom Fan was an excellent pivot throughout the season. Same with War Turtle, even though it was crap. Same with the Dun. It was a very nice pivot that could get me in Palafin or whatever. So I think that was my strengths as a player, was figuring out that like, I like a tank that can just take a hit and get out. That's why I love Regenerator Core so much, right? Hydropple is the perfect example. Eject button, eject pack, whatever. Take a hit, get out, get some HP back, and you're still healthy, right? It's why I love Teleport as a move. That's why I like Flip Turn and pivot moves on Slowmons and tanks. And this season really showed it. And I felt like I played very well. I made a bad transaction and I just kind of mismanaged my roster. For example, Passimian only coming 4 games is probably one of the biggest crimes I've ever committed. Hydropple, Take a Ton only coming 9 is probably another huge crime that I committed. But nevertheless, a very fun year, or a very fun season. Usually ASL is a league where you can try out a bunch of cool shit just because of the item clause and how it's structured. And there's also, for example, we're going to get to ASL season 14, but there are legendaries that are allowed that probably shouldn't be allowed, but they put a ton of restrictions on them. For example, Zekrom is allowed this year, and it can't run D-Dance or Scale Shot. So that's kind of what the league does, at least from what I've noticed every year, is add a legendary that is busted, but make it balanced. Like Ho-Oh's in the league. I think Lugia's in the league as well. So I really enjoy that, and I had a lot of fun in this league. Even though 5 and 7 plus 3 is so crazy, but very fun. And the last league I will get into this winter, somewhat spring section is LBL. LBL was kind of the culmination of all this. I had a really busted team. Palafin, Terrapagos, Raging Bull is a crazy core. Aptos, Gloria, Terra. Sylveon was a Terra captain at one point, but it eventually switched to Crocodile, I think, because I thought it was a little bit better, and I do think it was a little bit better. But overall, very fun team. Obviously, when you have Palafin, Terrapagos, Raging Bolt, you are expected to win a ton of games, and luckily I did. It just so happens that the 2 games I lost were not my best preps. And I knew for a fact the quarterfinals game I didn't prep well, and it showed. That -2 is very deceiving. I felt like I never really had a shot in the game because I just didn't prep. And it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, we only played once and you just gotta believe me. You see this? You see the 6-0 earlier in the year to Fabian King? No disrespect to Fabian King, because they played their asses off in the quarterfinals and obviously deserved it. I think they made a run too, so no disrespect to them. I just felt like I should have played a lot better, and I felt like this was one of my best teams, and I cut myself down with it. Some of the positives: Palafin's amazing, Terrapagos is amazing. I love using Raging Bull as a defensive pivot. Like I said, that's probably my favorite thing about these is tanks that are defensively ran and have a pivot move. And again, that's how this team works, because Sylveon, Baton Pass, Raging Bull has Volt Switch, Sorina has U-Turn, Rachi has U-Turn, so it's just, I felt a lot more comfortable with this team and getting in my threats and whatnot. And just a lot of win conditions is really nice on a team. So moving on to the middle section, I would say this is late spring, early fall. If even fall, I'd probably say summer, to be honest. But that's only 2 leagues. We'll only do 2 leagues for this section, and then we'll save fall, winter for this one. So spring, summer was Getsus. And again, this is another league you guys saw. I played pretty well in this league. I lost my first match and didn't lose another match until the end of the year. or end of the season on week 8. So those are my only 2 losses in the regular season. They are the footer and header, if you will. I won my quarterfinals matchup and lost in the second round. Again, pretty lazy prepping on my part, but I think it was finals stuff around that time, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of a pass, but probably should have prepped a lot better. But again, this was another league where this team is very different from the past teams, because I was saying, oh, I liked my pivots and whatnot and my bulky pivots. This team was very much different than that, and I felt like I played it a lot differently. And I feel like I did play all of these very similarly, where I would beat everything up for the first 2/3 of the game, and then at the end, win con comes in and it just sweeps the rest of the match, right? That's Latios, that's Flamigo. At times, I think it was even Regice, but that was the majority of the game. That's why Heatran has like kills. That's why even I know Clefable? Wow. I know Clefable is not one of my favorite Pokemon and it's kind of annoying, but I didn't run like Calm Mind sets, or if I did, they didn't really do much. Those are just like rocks, that's Moonblast, that's getting a lot of chip, and that's chipping things down, and it just so happened to get a kill. That's where all of those kills are usually coming from. Same with Heatran, same with Sinistra, and then it would be Latios and Flamigo just cleaning up, and that's how I'd win my games. And that was a lot of fun. That was amazing. And like I said, this is another year where I lose. I win in the regular season against someone, and then I lose in the postseason. So, really fun time. I happy to be back. I actually was back, and that didn't go well, but I did not put it here because I only played the 4 matches out of 8. So, and that was also in school is going on, I'm pretty sure. So, moving on, we have UBDL. This was actually the reverse of what I just said. I felt like I played really well, and I got a lot of forfeit wins just out of the blue. So, I don't know. I didn't really feel good coming into playoffs, and I won my first game, which was nice, but I didn't win the second one, and that was also just a prepping issue of I did not prep well with this team. I didn't really put my best foot forward and give myself a chance. I tried my best, but obviously it wasn't enough, and I don't really think I did try my best in the prepping department. So even if I tried my best in the battle, Pokemon's like a 3 or 4 dimensional game, so. But this was one of my favorite teams to use, man. Just, I would love another chance at this team because I feel like I did not take full advantage. Ho-Oh, Champao, Kartana, Primarina are just some of my favorite Pokemon that I've ever used. Deoxys Speed is also up there. Donphan's also up there. Vileplume's up there. Slitherwing's up there. Really just Mismag and Mega Ampharos were the wild cards, and Mismag wasn't even that bad. Mega Ampharos, though, is on fraud check. That mon is doo-doo. But this is a similar archetype of Primarina can flip turn, Deoxys has teleport, not Miss Mag. Even Mega Ampharos has Volt Switch, Slitherwing has U-turn, right? So I can bring threats in and switch around and do goofy shit like that. Ho-Oh was very fantastic this league. It just dominated. 13 to 2 KD ratio, Champao 10 to 2 KD ratio. Kartana's really the disappointing one. It was Terra, Kartana, and it just disappointed me. I feel like I could have played with it better. And I did say that maybe if Champao wasn't on this team, and it was more centered around Kartana, because this was really a Champao and Ho-Oh team, I feel like Kartana would have been a lot better, and I feel like I could have used it a lot better, but obviously that's just me. And I lost to the other Ho-Oh team that made the playoffs, so unfortunate, but at the same time, I feel like I got a little bit lucky with the wins, and maybe I shouldn't have made the playoffs, maybe I don't know, but nevertheless, I played good enough, and I earned the playoff spot, so which was nice considering the last time I did well in UBDL was season 12 or 11. Sorry, season 3, which is I think season 11 or so. So it's been like a while since I've done well. So I really needed that, and we'll see. I'm in season I think 16 now. We're in 15. I can't keep track. But I'm in that league, and I will be covering this, so hopefully that goes well. Moving on to the latter half of the year, the last 2 leagues that I was really in. PWC was definitely summer, fall, and ASL was really winter in general. we are halfway through the year, or halfway through the season, and it's January, so this is probably going to finish early March or so. So, first, PWC Season 13, you can already see the similar architects I run with these teams is just here. Water type that hits hard and can sweep and Terra and do a bunch of cool shit and has flip turn. Check. Fire type, strong, a setup mon that can just win games if it needs to. Also can play a ton of roles. Ogre Pawn, U-turn, play a little bit more defensive. That's usually how I like playing Ogre Pawn, though it doesn't really work well, so not my favorite mon to use, but that's how I usually use Ogre Pawn. Weavile, fast threat that just hits hard, right? It's the Chien-Pao of old. Zapdos, bulky switch and tank that can pivot. Metagross is just bulky steel with rocks, Hatterene, hazard control, but also just a very strong hitting fairy. Pretty much, it complements Inteleon in my opinion pretty well. So I just think Hat's pretty good. Claude, again, defensive backbone. Not really a great pivoter, but you can pivot in on a water type move, try and see if someone's choice or specs, or take a hit and just maybe click a surprise counter, or get hazards up. Hitmontop was probably the most disappointing mon. It really sucks that it doesn't have a great dark type move, and I knew that when I drafted, but I was like, man, I'll make Thief work. I couldn't make Thief work. Thief Hitmontop is impossible. It's probably not, but it wasn't for me. Braviary is awesome. I love it. I feel like it can do a ton of things. Again, bulky U-turner. You can run AV U-turn, especially if you have good hazard control like Hitmontop on your team, and a magic bouncer. Spiritomb, I will always love Spiritomb, so no complaints there. I did take away, I think, a few of my losses or a few of my wins. I'm pretty sure I finished the year 5-3, but the 2 losses I had were forfeit losses, so I probably shouldn't mention those, right? Even though I think I mentioned them in here, but whatever. It was definitely fun using Inteleon and just seeing what I could do with the mon. It's such a good Terra mon in my opinion. I think it's really underrated because it just hits hard. It's fast and it hits hard, and I think that works for me for Draft League. Moving on to ASL Season 14. So this is not fully updated with shocks kills or Pecharuns stuff. The only thing I updated was in this, but I am technically 2-4 -4. You see the 2s, I don't know how to explain it to anybody. You just have to see the games and you'll eventually see the games. I think I'm cursed in the league. I don't know how to explain it. When the game gets to the end game or whatever, my opponent seems to be at 2 or 3 mons and then they just lose them on inexplicably to crit, or I lose them on, right? I'm winning 3-0. In this matchup specifically, against Gil, I think that's how you pronounce it. I was up 3 mons and I just miss Poltergeist and I lose them on and I win the game after that. Like, just weird shit has been happening that I don't know how I don't know how to explain. But I don't know how all of them are 2s, but I am complaining because I'm not winning. So ASL Season 14. The team, you could see it. I'm very happy with Shaman Sky. This Pokemon can't have Air Slash, which sucks. Not because it can't flinch, but because its next best special attack is 60 base power. Next special flying move is 60 base power, which is really bad, and it doesn't have physical flying coverage. And that's important because it gets SD and it gets Baton Pass. So that is pretty important, and Baton Pass are rules. I don't read rules, so I don't really care about that, but Screamtail, fantastic. I love bulky Screamtail. It's so amazing. Tauros Padea, Fire is another mon that I haven't really used, but I've used Aqua. Aqua's a ton of fun, and now it's my Terra Captain, so I'm really hoping I can get the best out of it. The first matchup, it did pretty well. It got a kill, and it was just kind of a good knockoff switch-in, so that was nice. Tatsu's fine. No, it's not. I hate Tatsu. I really thought it would be okay, but it's so I just can't get it to work correctly, and it's frustrating because I want to run AV, but I don't think I haven't had a single game where I've been like Tatsu AV is a solution, but I feel like that's where it shines, but I haven't gotten that. Chargebug. I also haven't gotten a good Chargebug matchup. I'm waiting for a matchup where I can reliably get up my hazards, and Carcoal's not a mon that I need to run because those two are very hard to find. Because there will be some matchups where it's like, I could bring Karkle or Chargebug, but Karkle has the best defensive matchup, and there are rarely games where it's just, oh, you should bring webs, because that's what Chargebug's thing is. I don't have a good track record with even bringing webs, so I don't really know why I drafted it in this league, especially because this is a league where you have to bring every Pokemon, which usually is not an issue for me, but for this specifically, it was because I should say, because we're still playing, because Chargebug just doesn't have a ton of matchups, and also just how my team was formatted. Gold and Crawdont were backbone, so it was hard to realistically justify a Chargebug spot, but probably now even harder with Shocks. But Patch and Shocks have been, I really thought they would fix the team, and it looks like if Week 6 is something to go by, it means we're going to win every other match by 2. So they seem like amazing additions. They're I was going on before about how I operate as bulky tank pivot into strong offensive thing. Well, this guy gets Volt Switch, and this guy gets Parting Shot. They're replacing a mon that gets and another mon that gets. So I'm really happy about that. They've been very nice for me, and I appreciate their services, man. I appreciated Goldango. I appreciated Crawdont. It was Terra Crawdont too. And I appreciated both of them, but I felt like I needed a change from this roster because you start 1-4, you can't keep status quo. So had to do what I had to do, and those two have been amazing. Karkle is fantastic. I always love Karkle. Skarm has been so amazing as just a spike stacker and a stealth rock user, and the previous week it was just a fantastic Comfy check. It didn't have Terra Fire or anything like that. It was Terra Ground, I believe. Terra Ground Ghost Fairy, and it was Terra Ground this time. So just fantastic check and can just get shit done. So I'm really happy with that. Karkle, again, just amazing, and Sandakona's fucking ass. This mod just doesn't fit my team, and it's annoying that I drafted it. But I think I wanted Gligar, but that got picked, so... Well, I need a ground type, and this is after Shocks was picked on a different team, and it had to get dropped, and it's just a whole thing. So, I'm very happy about how this has been going so far. Even though I started this badly, I mentioned before on the other one, the best thing about this league is that we do the weekly watch, and that's been just super helpful as a spectator, just being like, what are other people doing? Because usually I don't watch these matches. What are other people doing? Even just looking at the matchup beforehand, which is what they do, they look at the matchup and try and analyze it. For me, it's really helpful because I will find things that they don't, or they will say things that contradict me, and I'll be like, oh, I could see why that might do that, but what about this? And obviously I can't interact with it, but it's cool to watch, and it's cool to listen to, and it's cool to see. So I've been in love with ASL. I've always loved ASL, but I love it even more this year. I've been having a lot of fun. So hopefully that all continues. Hopefully I can find my way back. It's actually, my division is one of the worst divisions, so I'm not completely out of the playoffs. There are 12 matches, so when I said we were halfway done, I really meant we were halfway done. Um, so there's a lot of time for me to, if I can get on a streak, I can fix things. So that's going to be the goal, is to make playoffs, or at the very least get Shaman somewhere, because Shaman's just awesome. I love Shaman. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this season could be a good year for you, as I hope it's a good year for me. I hope you have a pleasant day, great day even. And I want to fix the ship. I want to get everything steady smooth, and I want to get a video out every week if I can. And that's going to be the goal. And thank you for watching. Have a great one, and enjoy Balatro.